Welcome to your 7-day mini course. I'm your host, Jerome, and this is Chase, owner and founder of Girls Chase. Over the next 7 days, we're going to send you books, reports, and videos about dating and attraction. All the advice is super practical and is based on the latest scientific research. We'll be citing scientific studies throughout this course. But of course, the aim of the course is not to be a science paper. The aim is to give you great tools to use and to have fun doing it. So with that in mind, let's start our first lesson on the Mating Sociometer. Now, what is a Mating Sociometer, and what is this term, and what does the sociometer do?
So what a sociometer or a sociometer, what this is it's a theory in psychology that they came up with, and it's actually pretty well substantiated now. They've done a bunch of studies and found that this is the way it works. And it started out as a couple of scientists saying, what is the purpose of self-esteem? What purpose does it serve? And they said, if you go around, if feeling good doesn't exist just to feel good, just for the heck of it, there's a reason for it. Obviously, everybody has it, so it has some sort of function. So what is the function? What they did was they sat down and they put together these studies to explore what the function of self-esteem is. And what they discovered was that it's basically a way of monitoring how well you're doing socially. And the more people like you socially and the better you're able to accomplish your objectives socially, the more self-esteem you feel. You feel better about yourself as you are a more socially successful person. And what the mating sociometer theory is it takes this and moves it over into mating. And they find that the same thing happens, is that as you feel more competent and comfortable with your ability to get dates, to be attractive to the opposite sex, to have sex, to get a girlfriend, your self-esteem goes up, and then when you're not successful in these areas, your self-esteem goes down.
What are the signals men look for to determine what their mate values are relative to the girls they meet?
Well, there's actually a whole host of signals that people are looking at, that men are looking at, and then women are looking at too, to determine your own mate value and then the mate value of someone of the opposite sex that you're meeting. And you'll be looking at everything from what I call your fundamentals, which are things like your appearance, your fashion, your hairstyle, your facial hair, your facial expressions, body language, gestures, movement speed, posture, all of these things. Your voice tone, the way that you speak, the way you use your voice, to other things like financial resources, if a guy is rich, if he's famous. Obviously, these are things that are going to impact it. He's got a really nice car. These are things that a lot of guys will focus on. But the biggest things really are your fundamentals, just your presence, how you come across in person, and also your social abilities. How good are you at navigating through the social arena, at getting what you want from girls, and also from guys too, just in any kind of social situation.
Fantastic. So what happens to a guy who senses a girl's value is higher than his?
Well, so what Gamula et al. Did, and they did some research on this, and they found that if you take a man and you put him around a woman whom he judges to be of higher value than he is, she's a higher mate value. So this would be, if you got a guy he's got low self-esteem, he doesn't know how to talk to girls, he's not very good with girls, he doesn't consider himself very attractive, and you put him next to a beautiful girl who's well-dressed and her hair's done really nice and she's just really confident and sexy, he's going to look at her and he's going to feel like she's much higher mate value than I am. And what they found is that men shift their mating strategy based on how they evaluate themselves relative to the girl. And if a guy thinks that a girl is higher mate value than he is, he shifts into a play it safe strategy, where he's treating her as this really important, wonderful, hard to get girl, and he now tries to slow game her to try and show her what a great and wonderful and committed guy he is. Whereas if he sees himself as higher mate value, then he's more of the cocky, confident guy who just does whatever and can take it or leave it. So guys will shift into a very different strategy based on whether you think she's higher value or you think that you are higher value.
Well, he feels intimidated, he's not as confident, then he will, he won't really give the same signals and treat her the same way, which gives a certain impression to her.
Exactly. She can tell from your reaction how you feel you stack up next to her.
So then how big a problem is this for guys who aren't that experienced with girls yet?
Well, it's a big problem. And it's a big problem because what you'll see, one of the things that we teach you is that when you know what you're doing with girls, you typically have a certain process you'll take a girl through on a date. Well, when you meet her, when you talk to her, when you make conversation with her, when you ask her for a phone number or ask her out on a date, what you do on the date, once you get her back home with you, and you're just going to have this kind of standard process that you follow. But you'll find that guys will, even guys that are fairly experienced, that have their process that they know, okay, here's what I do with girls and this is what works. When they meet this girl who's just amazing and wonderful and incredible, they just throw that whole process out and say, well, I better play it safe with her because I don't want to mess it up. But then when you do that, you're not doing what you know how to do and you're following just some play it safe kind of thing. She can tell that you're treating her differently and that you're intimidated by her, and that makes her feel like maybe she's not getting such a catch herself if you're treating her this way, if you're treating her like she's the catch. So this can kind of throw off your results and can actually lead to you losing the girls that you most want to get.
Previous studies have found a link between your attractiveness and your self-esteem. Good-looking people are more confident, basically. But what Bale and Archer found in 2013 was that it goes a lot deeper than this, right? What can you tell me about their research?
So what Bale and Archer found was that when they sat down to look at what's happening with this looks and self-esteem correlation, so the question was, are people feeling more confident and higher self-esteem just because they're good-looking? And what they discovered was that, well, when you're good-looking, you tend to do better romantically on average, just because there is a bit more of that confidence, and you get some of that early advantage. Maybe girls are being a little bit more flirty, whatever, when you're younger. But they found that the real moderator was what is a man's romantic confidence level. So the correlation seems to be mostly down to just that good-looking guys are more likely to be confident romantically. But if you have a guy who's good-looking, who doesn't know what he's doing with girls, who actually have lower self-esteem than a guy who is maybe not that good-looking, but he knows what he's doing with women, his self-esteem will be higher. So it really mostly ties into what is a man's level of romantic skill and experience and expertise. How much does he know how to get what he wants with women versus the guy that doesn't really know that yet.
So the attractive guy gets more attention and is therefore more confident, but if a guy who's not so attractive applies some of these this research and these findings, they can achieve the same level as the hot guy, really.
Precisely.
Very
or
cool.
Perhaps even surpass him if he's not doing his homework.
Right. If he's not so good at social interaction, he can easily surpass the hot guy and compete, which is awesome. So confidence that you know how to have sex and get quality girlfriends is a big part of self-esteem then.
Yeah, it's huge. It's, guys that even if you have guys that are really good at, maybe they go into investment banking or whatever, really good at making money, but they don't know how to get the girls that they want to get, still have self-esteem issues. And you'll see with maybe guys that are really good at getting laid, but they don't get the kind of quality girl they want, they have self-esteem issues. So one of the big parts of self-esteem is just, are you able to get the girls that you want? Do you know that you can get them? Do you have the confidence that you can get them? And if you do, your self-esteem goes through the roof. And if you don't, then you're always going to have kind of that hole there because you know that you can't quite get the things you want. Can't quite get the girls you want.
So being rich isn't enough is what you're saying, necessarily.
Yeah, it's not enough.
It's good to know. So what are some of the mindsets you see inexperienced men carry around that limit their dating success?
A lot of probably the worst mindset is when a guy starts feeling like whatever I get, whatever my results are, that's just where I'm trapped there. It's never going to change. I can't change it, or it's just intrinsic. Like, okay, I suck with girls, so I'm always going to suck with girls, and that can't be changed. There's nothing I can do. It's kind of this giving up, throwing the towel in mentality. Or maybe he's just not even aware that this is, everything in life can be improved. Everything's a skill, essentially. But a lot of people don't realize that most things are skills. They think maybe, okay, learning a sport, that's a skill. Learning my job, that's a skill, but nothing else is a skill. Or maybe an art is a skill. But everything, really, you can learn, and this is one of them. Another one is guys that they fixate on one thing. They get it in their heads that girls only want this one thing. You'll see guys, they'll fixate on different things. So some guys think girls only want the good-looking guy. If he's not good-looking, girls don't want him. Or some guys think girls only want the rich guy. If he's not rich, then girls don't want him. Or, girls only want this guy who's really tall. They only want the tall guy. If I'm short, so no girl would want me. Or they only want the guy of the race. Like girls only want to date a white guy, or girls really like the sexy black guy, or whatever it is, or the Latin guy, or whoever. But you have guys that'll fixate on this one thing, and they just ignore everything else. which, sometimes I wish you could put them in a room with them and have the one guy saying, no, girls only want the good-looking guy, and this guy says, no, girls only want the really tall guy, and they can argue it out. But the important thing for those guys is to understand that there are tons of different things that girls are looking at, and even if you're falling short in one category or another, if you're really good in all the other categories, then the categories that you're not so good in don't matter all that much.
That's quite a critical point, is that, a lot of guys think, I have to be attractive and tall to get this kind of girl, and you're saying, no, there's other qualifications that they can use to be on an equal playing field to those guys, and not be limited, like stuck at, they think, I can only get this kind of girl, and that's it. They're not, you're saying.
Yeah, there are so many other things that you could work on.
Do you recommend guys try to get the mindsets first, or do you recommend they just get to work and the mindsets will follow?
Typically, I recommend guys start going out and getting to work right now, start talking to people, becoming more sociable if you're not very socially confident, or start going up and talking to girls, seeing if you can make some chit-chat, flirt, ask them out on dates, see what happens. And to a certain extent, the mindsets will follow. Sometimes you'll see guys that get really focused on, okay, I got to learn all these mindsets first, and then once I've got all the perfect mindsets, then I'm going to go out and start talking to girls, and it's going to go perfect and amazing. And it never works that way. It's sort of like if you pick up a book on basketball and you say, okay, I'm going to read through all the lessons on basketball, and I'm going to learn all the mindsets of a good player, and then I'm going to go start playing basketball, and I'm sure at that point I'll be amazing. Like, you have to actually learn the skill before you can go do it. But at the same time, you should be spending some time thinking about mindsets as you're doing it, because you will also see guys that can be technically good. They get really good at maybe sleeping with a lot of girls. They're really good at getting dates, or maybe they can even get those quality girlfriends, but they've got these bad mindsets that they've never gotten rid of, and things blow up for them at some point. They get the really great girlfriend, but they can't keep her because they've got this messed up mindset. Maybe they're really paranoid, or they just have some kind of relationship issues. So my recommendation is get out there, get in action, and then work on your mindsets at the same time as you're going through it. But you have to be in action, you have to be talking to girls, you have to be socializing, because if you're not doing that, then the mindsets don't stick, because you don't have the actual real world experiences that they can build upon.
That's very practical, and it's something I hear a lot with learning generally is, don't just learn and then go do something once you've learned it, is to learn by doing, right? Is that the idea, right?
Got to learn by doing it, and then studying the best practices as you're going through as well. And then you get this kind of this loop of you're reading something new, or you're getting this new mindset and saying, hey, let me go try that out, or oh, you know what, I can see that now because I can look back on these experiences I've had, and then you can kind of add that mindset in. Okay,
so what does a good mindset with girls look like? How does a guy with a healthy mentality about dating think about it?
The healthiest mindset, the healthiest mentality you can have, and this is where you want to get to. You won't be here when you're first starting out, but you want to aim toward getting here, is you want to be able to feel confident that you can get the girls you want, and not necessarily feel like you have to get one particular girl. You want to be able to think, okay, I like this girl, I'm going to go talk to her, and we'll see how it goes. And if she seems like she's giving you something, or you really like the looks of this girl, you can still persist, but you're not feeling this need, like I have to have her. If I don't get her, then I'm going to do whatever it takes to get her. One of the issues a lot of guys run into when they're less experienced is that they'll fixate on a specific girl, then they'll become needy around her. And if she's not agreeing to go out with them right away, or she's not interacting with them the way that they want, then they'll start bending almost. They'll start behaving in a way that's not very attractive to try and get her. They try to please her too much, or they act too weak or too compliant. And she's looking for a man. She's looking for a guy who's strong and attractive and has this center within himself, and that's what's going to be attractive to her. So the healthy mindset is to be this strong guy and still be able to go out and talk to the girls you want and want to be with them. But if they don't feel the same way, then that's okay with you, and you don't take it personal. And you can say goodbye and leave on warm terms, and maybe you can come back and meet her again later, and maybe it'll go differently, or you can go meet another girl, and either way, you're not gonna make it a too big deal for yourself. That's the ideal, when you can get to that point.
Do not put too much expectation on yourself. Just have fun and see what happens.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing to getting to that mindset is once you've had enough experience going out and you know that you can meet girls and do well with them, then you sort of relax a little bit and it becomes less of this life and death. I have to get this girl or else I'm going to be alone forever. Once you kind of get past that, and you can say, okay, I know that even if this girl doesn't want me, I'm going to find another girl that's as cute as her or cuter than her sooner or later, and I don't have to worry about it too much.
It sounds like me in high school or some of my older friends, they're obsessed with one girl and then they miss a lot of other opportunities.
Yeah, I think it's pretty common to get sucked into it when you're young and you're not that experienced yet, because you're not able to look back and say, all right, I will meet another girl like her. You're looking back and you're like, I've never met another girl like this before. Who knows how long it will be before I meet another one. But as you get older, it becomes less of a dramatic thing.
So I assume you have this kind of mentality yourself?
Yeah. I didn't always, it takes you time to get there.
So as your fundamentals improve and your game improves, how does this affect your sociometer?
Well, so what's happening is, as your fundamentals improve, because you're making yourself a more attractive person, that passive value, better posture, better facial expressions, better voice tone, better everything, just you seem more attractive. And then as your game improves, and then as your game improves, and game, when I use the word game, I just mean your ability to interact with other people and get what you want, your social skills, your social abilities. What happens is you just see more success in the social arena. You see more success in the dating arena. And more of the girls that you meet, even the really beautiful girls who are really high mate value, will look at you and they'll say, here's another guy who is high mate value. And so you know yourself that you have higher mate value. You also pick up from the women that you interact with that you are a higher mate value guy. So your sociometer goes up, I guess. I'm not sure which direction it would be up, right? But I guess your sociometer is going up. You know that you're a high value guy. And when you meet women, you know that they feel the same way towards you. So you're not slipping into this mentality of, oh no, I better play it safe. I got to go get her and be really sweet and whatever. Because you know that you're an attractive guy. So you're able to continue to follow these best practices that you've developed with women that work to get you phone numbers and dates and sex and girlfriends.
Hopefully then eliminating the idea that, I shouldn't talk to that girl, I shouldn't bother talking to that girl, because there's no chance,
Yeah, that's another one. Is you stop really having too much of that. You look at that girl, wow, she's so hot, she would never talk to me, and then it just becomes, she's so hot, okay, do I feel like going up and talk to her right now? Or then it's
Great.
more of a...
Be natural. You can act be yourself and not worry about what may or may not happen.
Yeah, then it becomes if you want to go talk to her, you go talk to her, instead of if you want to go talk to her, then you're not standing there second guessing yourself, like, oh, what will happen? Is she gonna reject me? Am I gonna look stupid?
Yeah. So do girls have this happen too, that they think they're not good enough for you and their mating sociometers are affected?
Yeah, it's happening to everybody. Everybody's using that mating sociometer to determine where he or she stacks up to the rest, and girls do the same thing. If you, particularly as you improve yourself, as your fundamentals game go up, as you become a more attractive guy, as you become a more socially competent guy, you'll see girls get pretty nervous around you. And it may even happen to you now, even if you haven't worked on yourself too much. You may still meet girls and she's getting kind of nervous around you, and that happens. If for whatever reason a girl looks at you and she says, this guy is kind of out of my league, then that can happen. So one of the things that you will work on too as you improve yourself is, how can I make myself, even as I become more attractive, how do I not be so intimidating that maybe a more timid girl is going to be intimidated and run away? Because obviously if she's cute, you don't want her to run away. So
you have to be careful that you're not intimidating them and they're not feeling uncomfortable around you despite your sociometer status or setting.
Yeah, I mean, if you like the more timid kinds of girls, you can't be the guy who's walking around puffed out chest all the time, looking up, too good for everybody. You have to cultivate an atmosphere of warmth. I mean, if the only thing you want are the girls that are also going around with their chins up and strutting about, then maybe it's worth it to cultivate that persona. But you kind of have to be aware of what kind of women are you going for.
If you had to give one thing to guys right now to help improve their sociometer scores, what would it be?
It would be start working on your fundamentals. Just pick a couple of little things about yourself. Could be your posture, keeping your back straight. Could be your voice tone. Do you speak too quickly, or do you mumble too much? Do you need to be more articulate? Anything like hand gestures. Do you use gestures when you're speaking? Your movement speed? Anything like that. Just pick 2 little things that you could stand to improve on and improve them. And if you can't think of anything, then I suggest you find some movies with an actor whom you respect, whom you know that women think is sexy, who's a guy that you'd like to emulate a little bit, and then watch some of his movies and pick out some of the little things that he does and start to adopt them yourself.
So we recommend then doing some video taping of yourself to kind of see what you're doing? Because sometimes people don't know.
Yeah, that could be pretty revealing. You may think you're doing everything great, and then you take some video of yourself and watch it, and you go, "Oh my God, what the heck am I doing? Why am I tilting my head that way?" Or I keep twitching my eye, or that can help you identify these little quirks that you have that maybe you didn't realize.
Okay, so what homework do you have for our viewers today for the lesson?
Let's go with the fundamentals. So pick 2 fundamentals that you want to improve, and work on improving those and be conscious about them for the next 30 days. So for the next 30 days, you'll be thinking about this thing, whatever it is. Say you want to keep your back straight. So you're going to be very conscious. You'll be very conscious of how am I holding my back. And you'll find that for the first few days, maybe the first week, you're having to constantly remind yourself, okay, straighten up, straighten up, straighten up. But as you do this more, it becomes a habit, and you can stop thinking about it so much. And by the end of the 30 days, it becomes something that hopefully you won't have to think about too much or at all in order to maintain.
Documented a certain amount of time of doing something, and you'll eventually don't have to think about it so much anymore.
Exactly. And a lot of times people are doing things, and it feels like this is, if we're talking about posture, for instance, if you're slouching all the time, it feels like, well, this is the most comfortable posture. It's too uncomfortable to hold my back up straight. But really, that's a habit. Your body's just gotten used to that. And as you get used to this new habit, you switch.
Yeah.
And slouching becomes less comfortable, and keeping your back straight becomes more comfortable. Just because your body settles into these habits, your mind settles into these habits, but you can correct them with time and a little bit of discipline.
We just covered the Mating Sociometer, a term scientists use to describe your tendency to change your game based on whether you think she's in your league or not. We discussed the major role the Mating Sociometer plays in self-esteem. We gave you a picture of what a healthy mindset looks like with girls. And we gave you something to get started with so you can get improving immediately. Make sure you download the report below this video and scoop up tomorrow's book on flirtation. In our next video, we're going to talk about devotion and what you can do to make a girl completely devote herself to you. See you again soon.